This is week 9. This is set your lineup time. This is I can't afford to lose another week time. So with that, let's set our lineups. Let's go through every matchup. Nobody moves. Nobody gets hurt. Roll the damn intro. I'm sorry about the theatrics. I'm so excited to come through and bring my week 9 start sits for all of my dogs over at Outlier Militia. I can't help myself. I don't know what to do. If you're seeing this video first and foremost on Friday, happy Halloween. Hope you all stay safe. Hope you all have an amazing Halloween. And if you missed Thursday Night Football, I posted on Instagram and TikTok. You can go check that out over at Outlier Militia. Outlier Militia. You can find those at Outlier Fantasy on all platforms. But now we got all that spooky shit out the way. Let's go straight into Broncos versus Texans this Sunday. I'm going to stay away from both the quarterbacks in this matchup. I know Bo Nix is my guy. There truly is no fantasy football YouTuber out there that's more thumbs up for Bo Nix than I am. However, the Houston Texans defense is legit. The expected point total is only 39.5 for both teams. So that means we're expecting each team to score less than 20 points, meaning neither quarterback is going to be that fantasy viable unless they're rushing one in and throwing one, and that's how you get to 14. I think the only Denver Bronco I want to start confidently in this game is Courtland Sutton. Could you play J.K. Dobbins? Sure. We have R.J. Harvey to worry about. No, he's not going to score 3 touchdowns every game. That's an obvious. Maybe we'll see a 40-60 backfield split. Maybe J.K. Dobbins won't be the same effective fantasy football player that he was in the first 8 weeks of the season. I think the only players you're starting in this matchup are Courtland Sutton and Nico Collins. Anybody else is a little dangerous, and that includes the Houston Texans running back room, which has been a mess lately. While Nick Chubb out-carried Woody Marks last week, Woody Marks had a 50-yard reception that saved his fantasy day, but all in all still finished with more than 1 reception and less than 50 receiving yards total. How do you figure that out? I've had YouTube commenters come at me saying that Woody Marks is this must-add player, gotta be starting him every week. I see a guy that makes a big play and then falls backwards 3 times, you know? Do you really want the guy that's gonna take 1 step forward, 3 steps back? Next, we're moving on to 49ers at the Giants in MetLife. And if you're a Christian McCaffrey fantasy owner, you're definitely going to need to say your prayers that Christian McCaffrey makes it out of this game alive. Obviously, I'm not wishing any bad on anyone out there. MetLife Stadium, if you don't know, has been a stadium that has been oddly getting players more injured than other times. I mean, we remember week 1 of Monday Night Football a couple years ago, right? So whether it's a good game or bad game for McCaffrey, as long as he leaves on his own power, we're going to be very happy fantasy owners of Christian McCaffrey. He's obviously the must-start player. George Kittle is obviously a must-start player. I'm probably going to stay away from the quarterback. I'm not really looking to play Brock Purdy or Mac Jones in this spot. No disrespect to them. And for the New York Giants, the only player we should be starting on this team is Tyrone Tracy, with obviously the absence of Cam Scatterboo. He's going to take over the 3-down work set. We're probably not going to see a lot of Devin Singletary. It's wheels up for Tyrone Tracy going forward. If you play in deeper fantasy leagues, 12-man, 14-man, maybe you can consider starting a Theo Johnson or a Wan'Dale Robinson. Probably more of a Wan'Dale Robinson than Theo Johnson. But hey, who am I to judge? Probably the most excited I am for any 1 o'clock game this weekend. The Colts are going to Pittsburgh, and it's time to find out which one of these teams is actually going to be some legit AFC playoff contender, and which one is about to face reality bad. While Calvin Austin and Roman Wilson showed out in the last game against a very weak Packers secondary, this is not the matchup to be playing either one of those guys. In fact, the only Steelers I would recommend starting are DK Metcalf and Jalen Warren. I'm not going to give you the green light to play Aaron Rodgers this weekend. The Colts defense is pretty good. As for the Indianapolis Colts, Daniel Jones remains a must-start player. Jonathan Taylor is going for RB1 overall, so guess what? He must be started as well. And Michael Pittman Jr., who's having a phenomenal season, by the way. And if you don't remember, I was the guy telling you back in July to be drafting him. You could go check out that video. I'll put it up there, actually, not down there. Good times. And you're going to want both Badgley and Chris Boswell in this game. Fire away the kickers in this one. This should be a good one. Shall we proceed? Panthers at the Packers. I don't know what to make of the Carolina Panthers running back room, but I do know for damn sure I'm not taking Dave Canales' word for it when he says Rico Dowdle is going to be the starter. Here's what I know that is going to happen in this game. The weather is going to call for a lot of wind, so maybe they're going to want to run the ball. The Packers defense is not going to let them run the ball that well. We're splitting carries between Rico Dowdle and Chuba Hubbard, even though Rico Dowdle is supposedly the one, right? Rico Dowdle played almost 40% of the snaps last week, leaving Chuba Hubbard at about 60%. Even if we got a 60% Rico Dowdle to 40% Chuba Hubbard, is that going to be enough against a good run defense to say you have to start Rico Dowdle? I'm going to say no. If you have to play him, that's a different story. But if you have the luxury of keeping Rico Dowdle on your bench this week, I personally would do it. I understand that this is a player, no matter if he has a short sample size of carries and receptions in a game or takes the bulk of the carries. He's very efficient in terms of when he gets the ball and creates space for himself. But this isn't a great matchup for it, and I got to be honest about it. It also doesn't really faze me too much that it's going to be a windy game and they're probably going to be more inclined to run the football, the Carolina Panthers, because they're probably going to be trailing. They're almost 14-point underdogs to the Green Bay Packers. So we're expecting a lopsided game here, which means the Carolina Panthers are going to have to throw. So if there's anyone that I'm going to tell you to start confidently on the Carolina Panthers, it's Ted McMillan. And I know he hasn't given us enough games to make us feel comfortable about that, but trust. As for the Green Bay Packers, you can start Jordan Love, and the must-starts on the Green Bay Packers are how they've been all season. Tucker Kraft and Josh Jacobs cannot come out of your lineups. And with the emergence of Romeo Doubs over, the last 4 weeks, I'm going to say you can play him as well. Let's keep it within the NFC North real quick. We have a divisional matchup of the NFC North. The Vikings are going to Detroit to play the Lions, and this should be a fun one in terms of who you can must start or have to start on the Minnesota Vikings. That list is very short, and it's Justin Jefferson, and the list stops right there. Jordan Addison, awesome player, very touchdown dependent, so I'm a little worried about that in this game. And also, Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason. I don't know what to make of this backfield either. They're both getting involved. They're both getting opportunities and touches. I think it's best we leave both of these Minnesota running backs on our bench. And for the Detroit Lions, we're going to start our Lions players as usual. Business as usual here. You're starting Jared Goff, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jahmyr Gibbs, and Sam Laporta. You can play David Montgomery in this matchup, but if we're going to be honest, over the last few weeks, he's just left us with more to be desired. That's probably the best way to put it. Now let's talk LA Chargers at the Tennessee Titans. This is probably going to be a game where you don't want to start any Titans players. Let's just call it what it is. If anybody, without Tony Pollard, Tyjae Spears definitely gets upgraded to starting running back territory. But if they're going to both be active, I'd stay away from either one. If I had to pick one over the other, Tyjae Spears. If you're desperate, you can roll out Shamir DK again if you'd like. I think that's a little risky. Let's talk the LA Chargers. Oronde Gadsden is absolutely proving me wrong, so we're just going to start with Oronde Gadsden is must start. Justin Herbert is also must start in this matchup as well. And the wide receivers as well. Ladd McConkey and Keenan Allen. What do we do with Quentin Johnston, though? That is the big question. The last time you put him in your lineups, you got 0 points. Should we be expecting 0 points going forward? Probably not. But should we be expecting, not a wide receiver one campaign from Quentin Johnston this year? Yes. We're going to have to evaluate and find him somewhere in the middle, probably flex play territory the rest of the year. Falcons at the New England Patriots. I know it was one game with backup Kirk Cousins, but I don't know what to make of this Atlanta Falcons offense anymore. I'm just being honest. I know they didn't have their wide receiver one. I know Bijan Robinson had a un-Bijan Robinson-esque kind of game, but we're looking here and it's just, we don't know what we're going to get out of this offense every single week, and that's just the truth. Obviously, Bijan Robinson is started as usual. If Drake London is healthy and not out of this game, definitely start Drake London in this matchup. If Drake London is not playing, upgrade Kyle Pitts. He starts to enter that starting tight end territory for us. But most importantly, I really think that this is the Drake May eye test game. I know we expected a tough matchup for the Cleveland Browns defense. I know Drake May threw a pick. I know it wasn't his best game, but regardless, he's still absolutely balled out. It seemed like the pass rush was not fazing him whatsoever. And now he's going to have an even bigger test against this Falcons defense. And I know they just let Tua Tagovailoa go crazy on them. But that's not been the story this year for most other quarterbacks. Ask Josh Allen. So while I'm not going to say sit Drake May, I'm not going to confidently say start Drake May. This is more of a temper expectations if you do have him. For the Patriots skill position players, I really only trust Stephon Diggs and maybe Kayshon Boutte if you're in a deeper league. These Patriots running backs, I cannot trust. Maybe we'll see Travion Henderson a little more going forward. I know they want to trade for a running back, so clearly they don't see him as a standalone running back piece. They want to maybe sprinkle in someone else to pass block along with Ramondre Stevenson. Maybe this is Ramondre Stevenson losing his job and not Travion. I'm not really so sure right now. So in conclusion, feel good about Diggs. Kayshon Boutte, touchdown or bust. And if you have Travion Henderson, do not play him. Let's continue. Up next, the Bears are traveling to Cincinnati to play the Bengals, and whether there's Joe Flacco or no Joe Flacco, I'm here to tell you that we should not be so scared of Jake Browning at quarterback, especially with how bad things have gone for him. The second he gets another opportunity to show what he's got, you better believe you're going to see a guy who's hungry to keep a job in the NFL. So while it may not be the Joe Flacco production you're going to see from your Bengals skill position players, you still have to start Chase Brown, still have to start T. Higgins, even though he's only good for a touchdown. Touchdown or bust seems like to be the thing for him now. And obviously, Jamar Chase is still Jamar Chase. For the Chicago Bears, the only clear starts here are DeAndre Swift and Rome Odunze. Caleb Williams has a great matchup, so you can play him if you need to. I'm not going to put him in a must-start territory, but this should be a game that if the Bears want to keep their season alive, he better ball out. And something I want us to monitor as the week goes on and we get closer to Sunday, I did not put this player in my waiver wire ad list, which is a shame on me. I need to be better for the future. Colston Loveland could have a potential to have an expanded role in this offense if Cole Kmet misses this game due to injury. We've seen Colston Loveland over the last 2 weeks see 4 targets in each of those games, so he's starting to get acclimated into this offense and finally starting to play more than 45-50% of the snaps in a game. So if those trends continue, we see 4 targets or more. We see he's still out there for 70-75% of the plays. We have to add Colston Loveland, and we have to consider, is Colston Loveland starting tight end territory at that point? Moving on, the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to Vegas to play the Raiders, and I think the only must-start players that you have in this game for the Jaguars are Travis Etienne and Brian Thomas Jr. You can play Travis Hunter. We've seen great Travis Hunter games. We've also seen numerous not-so-good Travis Hunter games to the point where maybe you've even wanted to drop him in your fantasy leagues. Typically, rookies coming out of a bye week have some kind of game plan or plays in the playbook designed for them, so maybe lean a little closer to starting Travis Hunter, but not a must-start in any means. For the Vegas Raiders, there's only 2 guys you can start with confidence, and it's Ashton Jeanty, and now that Brock Bowers is back, welcome back, Brock. Brocktober was delayed a whole month, but now we're going to get it for the entire month of November. And if he's on your roster and you're desperate to play him, I think Trey Tucker is a good play here. It still seems like Jacoby Myers is getting the short end of the totem pole or the short end of the stick here with the targets and receptions because he's clearly frustrated and doesn't have a contract. So with that, I like Trey Tucker in this one. And now it's Saints and Rams. This one's going to also be a very quick one. We're definitely starting Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams, and Kyron Williams. You can play Stafford, but I'm not going to put him in must-start territory. And I don't think there's anybody I want to start on the New Orleans Saints. Alvin Kamara, I don't love the idea. Maybe you could play Chris Olave because they're going to be trailing in this game and have to throw to get back in. But the Rams defense is really good. So take it for what it's worth. Temper your expectations on Olave, and I don't love anybody else that plays for the Saints. Probably America's favorite matchup this week. The Chiefs are going to play the Bills, and you're starting everybody you can in that matchup. You're starting Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen as normal. You're starting James Cook. You're starting Kareem Hunt. You got to get Travis Kelce and Dalton Kincaid in the mix as well. Rashee Rice, whoever's playing in that Kansas City wide receiver room, they got to go in your lineups. It seems like Isaiah Pacheco isn't going to play. So if that is the case, that is why I say Kareem Hunt is a must start. If they're both playing, I still like Hunt, but maybe not a must start. So basically, get whoever you can in your lineup, but don't play a Bills wide receiver. We've talked about that plenty of times on this channel, why you shouldn't want to play a Bills wide receiver. But yeah, let's continue. Sunday Night Football. The Seattle Seahawks are playing in Washington against the Commanders. And while Terry McLaurin is out, Jaden Daniels is back, and that makes him must start because Jaden Daniels is back. Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt goes back to being must start territory. This is a running back that, yes, he hasn't had good games for you over the last few weeks. I understand that. However, this running back is very touchdown dependent. So if the offense is not driving the ball down the field, putting together complete drives and finishing with touchdowns, that's what Jaden Daniels is going to provide. That's what's going to help Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt get back to that starting RB territory. So it makes him a must start in this game. Because Terry McLaurin is out, Deebo Samuel is must start wide receiver territory. However, he has been a scammer lately. And if you know what I'm talking about, that video on social media is absolutely hilarious. JSN and Sam Darnold are the only players I'm going to call must start at this point. Ken Walker is obviously a great running back, but gets his touchdowns stolen by Zach Charbonnet. We've seen this blueprint already throughout the season. And if you play in a deeper league and you need a tight end to start, I like AJ Barner in this one. And finally, Cowboys versus the Cardinals. You already know because everybody on every single major news platform when it comes to sports has talked about it already. You start everybody that plays the Dallas Cowboys. So you're starting Kyler Murray. You're starting Bam Knight. You're starting Marvin Harrison Jr. Trey McBride was never even leaving your lineup to begin with, whether he was playing the Cowboys or not. And you're also safely starting all of the Dallas Cowboys that we've been starting all year long. I know Jake Ferguson has struggled lately with CeeDee Lamb back. That is not going to stay that way. He has always been one of Dak's favorite targets. I know George Pickens is there. I know CeeDee Lamb is there. There's going to be games in the future where George Pickens isn't going to go bonkers every single week. It's going to happen. Things will start to even out. So play Jake Ferguson. You're playing George Pickens no matter what. You're playing CeeDee Lamb no matter what. And Dak has to be played no matter what. And how rude of me to leave out Javonte Williams. Javonte Williams must be started as per usual here. And that's going to wrap it up for every Week 9 matchup in fantasy football this weekend. Did I cook? Is my list absolutely trash? Let me know in the comments. We could have a discussion about it. If you have any starts at fantasy football questions of your own, make sure you write them down in the comments down below, and I'll get back to you as fast as I possibly can. I love to help each and every one of you out. If you watch my video, the least I could do is answer your start-sit questions. If you're new here, you like fantasy football content, be sure to subscribe down below. Be a part of Outlier Militia. What are you waiting for? If you like this video, make sure you smash that like button for your boy. It helps the channel immensely get my videos out to more and more fantasy football enthusiasts like yourself. And yeah, that's all the time I have for you guys today. If you stuck around and watched this entire video, thank you so much for watching. My name is Turtle, this is Outlier Fantasy, and I will see you in the next video. Wow, you stuck to the end of this video? Thank you so much. If you're new here, make sure you check out one of these videos on the screen right now. And don't forget, before you leave, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any fantasy football videos on this channel. And that's all I got for you guys. I'll see you in the next one.